here Dr. Luke Prodromou, a very well-known figure in ELT. Thank you very much for giving me this interview.
You're welcome. Vicky.
You will be participating in the conference, first of all, in the debate, in the ICT debate. Can you tell us a few things about that?
Well, that comes after. That's the second thing we do. First of all, we're doing the Dickens presentation performance, and it's a connection with education, because Dickens was a passionate believer in education. But immediately after that, we have the debate, which is actually about the increasing dependence on digital learning and whether it makes our job as effective teachers more difficult. It's not exactly as it is in a program, because it's important for me to say that I would not be prepared to argue against the digital revolution. That would be ridiculous. It would be like saying, I disagree with the invention of the wheel. I disagree with the Industrial Revolution. You cannot disagree with the digital revolution. It's a fact. It affects every aspect of our life. So the question here, Vicky, for me it's very important to stress this, is of course it helps to motivate, of course it helps to acquire language, although there's not enough evidence of this. I think we can confidently assume that the motivation, the variety and all the rest of it will probably lead to enhanced learning of a second or a foreign language. But our question is, what about all the other things that teachers have to do within the available time and space? Is the increasing dependence, and the key word is dependence, on digital information and communication technology in any way a threat to the development of the other many things that we do as teachers? Because education, rather than just English language teaching, is a very rich and complex area where there are lots of things happening on different levels and different kinds of knowledge and awareness and behaviours, right? And for me, the whole question is whether a part of this whole complex picture, which is information technology, and it's a very important, it's a very exciting one, whether it threatens to take over the whole field, which includes things like language awareness and description. It includes applied linguistics, it includes methodologies of so many different kinds, theories of motivation, psycholinguistics, you name it, global English and the role of English as an international language, the politics of learning English. You can see what I'm getting at. For me, the danger is not that these things are not motivating up to a point, depending on how they are used, because in themselves, intrinsically, they're not always going to motivate our learners. The conference theme, innovation, points to that possibility that things, by definition, are not always new. When they're no longer new, what happens to your motivation? So you've got to draw on your pedagogical principles. You've got to draw on pedagogy, on education, as a broad and complex issue between human beings. So, apart from virtual time and space and the wonderful way in which digital technology has collapsed and made irrelevant questions of time and space, what about real time and space? Because whatever happens, you and me, like now, and others, we are going to sit in real time, in real space, and look at each other and interact with each other. So you see what I mean about the question then is not whether one's for or against. This is ridiculous. If students want to do this in class and the teacher wants to do it, of course they're going to do it. And if I were teaching full-time now, I would be using digital technology. So I find it perfectly consistent with what I've always believed in about teaching as a socio-constructivist, a socio-cultural process of collaboration, creativity, scaffolding, and so on. So you see what I'm getting at. Is that having said all of that, at the end of the day, digital technology is a part of what we do and not the whole. There's a kind of danger of a neo-colonial, neo-imperialist invasion by digital technology of the whole space. And the pressure from the companies making the hardware and the software to sell to ministries is enormous. And this is putting the cart before the horse. Where's the pedagogy? When a ministry decides they're going to go over to iPads from one day to the next, where's the research into what impact this is going to have on people learning? So I would also add that dimension, the political, economic dimension of digital technology in education, and the role that private enterprise and profit plays in preempting questions of pedagogy, because ministries and companies are desperate to make a deal and to make a lot of bucks in selling iPads to everybody. I was in Dubai recently, and in Dubai, in many colleges, they've gone over completely to iPads. You don't see books anymore. And I wonder whether this has been done for purely educational reasons, or whether there was at bottom neoliberal economic motivation for adopting a digital approach to education from one day to the next, with very little research, very little training and preparation. So you see what I mean about the cart before the horse? Sorry, you asked me a quick question and I gave you a speech.
It's absolutely amazing, and what more can I add?
Well, you could ask about Dickens, and where does Dickens fit in?
Okay.
Because they're not disconnected, these two sessions for me. Digital technology and education, which is what we're really talking about, and Dickens and education. So going back then to a creative writer who was passionate about education of the poor, because in his time, economic interests and problems of debt and bankruptcy led to masses of people being out on the streets or being forced to live in workhouses, poor houses, and they were exploited. Dickens' response to this, apart from any political change he wanted to see, was education. Education on what we would call today a humanistic level, and the way that education liberates people like Oliver Twist and these other victims, and women, victims of an unequal economic system. The importance of education in liberating and empowering the individual. I think he would be in favour of digital technology because he was in favour of the Industrial Revolution, of the railways up to a point. He would say, look, the railways are causing massive destruction. The Industrial Revolution is causing massive destruction, but at the same time, it's creating jobs and opportunities, it's liberating energies. So I think the two things are not inconsistent. So I'm coming back in a sense to digital education, that education and digital technology are not inconsistent. They go hand in hand. In moderation, to finish, if you like, with wonderful but simple cliche from ancient Greece, ban, metron, ariston, everything in moderation. And I suppose that's my basic position, you know. Of course we're going to use these wonderful opportunities for learning and collaboration above all. But people are, at the end of the day, they're not all the same. There is a danger of a kind of straitjacket, where it's still looking at a screen, whatever you say, you're saying to me that everybody has to, and we have the Prenskian view of digital learning, which uses the modal verbs must and have to a lot. If you don't do this, you're going to be left behind. Your kids are not going to be interested in learning. There may be an element of truth in it. But it's still straitjacket, it's still one road. We've always, as teachers, talked about diversity. We've talked about the many different ways in which people learn. Whatever happened to individual learner differences? Have we forgotten them? Whatever happened to different teacher approaches and profiles? We seem to be collapsing everything into the medium of the screen in one form or another. And as I say, it's the totality, it's the kind of absolutism, the totalitarian cyber approach, which I think may contain some dangers of, if you like, undermining choice, individuality, and at the end of the day, if somebody wants to teach without using digital technology, will they be able to do so? Or is it going to be, look, you have to, whether you like it or not? And that does raise a few questions of individual freedom and democracy.
It's very interesting how you connected the two sessions that you will be giving. It's very nice, and we're looking forward to...
Well, it's all about connections. The economic crisis we're going through today is very much connected to the shift towards technology. If you look at the banking crisis and debt and so on are not disconnected from the power that the computer has made available to the markets to make money and to take risks. So that's what I mean by the neoliberal link, where computerization and deregulation have played a major part. Shift to education, and you have a kind of deregulation in education which says basically anything goes, because we are dealing with digital natives. We follow where the digital natives go because we're digital immigrants. So you've got your deregulation, you've got your computerization. So it's a kind of free market approach to education as well. It's not my own idea. Others have said this is a kind of neoliberal view of education, which has a strange kind of uncanny parallel to the economic crisis that so many countries are going through at the moment. We need to think about that and explore it further, I think. Okay, Vicky?
Well, thank you very, very much.
You're welcome. I'm sorry it was a bit of a rush,
I
because I
could
wanted
sit and
to go.
listen to you for hours.
I'd like to go